You've heard the old song, Life is a Highway, right? But let's think about that. What does that mean? Not necessarily the song, but just in general. If you think about a freeway, what is that like to drive on a freeway? Some people would say it's pretty easy. Now, you're going pretty fast, but once you get used to the speed, all the traffic's moving one way. There's no traffic lights, there's no stop signs, there's no intersections. You're just going, period. That's pretty easy, and that's pretty easy to get used to. But what happens if all of a sudden you find there's an exit, and maybe you find yourself off the freeway now? Especially when you were used to being on the freeway. I put uh-oh on here because if you wanted to stay on the freeway and then you accidentally, say, took an exit, maybe you were in the wrong lane or something like that, now you find yourself off the freeway. And if you're off the freeway, it's not so easy to get back on. Now, sometimes you get off and then you can get right back on. That's the easy way. That's just a tiny, tiny little detour. But sometimes you find yourself in the middle of a city somewhere with no easy way back onto the freeway. So what do we know about city driving? There's different rules in the city. Now, instead of everybody going the same way, there's no stoplights, there's no stop signs, there's no intersections. You have all of that in the city. So what does this matter? Why do we care? If you think about your life, the life that you've become accustomed to, let's say the life that you have, there's something called hedonic adaptation, where whatever you have becomes normal. It becomes a natural part of your life. It becomes easy. But then if something happens, maybe something outside of your control, maybe some mistake you made, something happens that takes you off the freeway. It disrupts your life. In other words, you're not on the freeway anymore. That can feel scary because there's different rules now. Now you're in this position where you have to try to figure out, how do I get back on the freeway? Or should I try to get back on the freeway? Or can I get back on the freeway? Or should I get used to driving around the city? Or maybe this is the country. So these are the questions that are difficult. Made more difficult by the stories that we tell ourselves. If I start to think, this sucks, I shouldn't have gotten off the freeway, or some version of that, like, I shouldn't have to do this, it shouldn't be like this, I don't want it like this, or something disrupts your work and I'm not being productive right now. What do all these have in common, though? These are a focus on what's not. It shouldn't be this way. I don't want this. I'm not productive. I'm not living that life. I'm not on the freeway. I'm not doing my work. This is a focus on what you're not doing. That is, in essence, a lack of acceptance of your current situation. It's crying over the spilled milk, so to speak. So if we can gradually learn, all right, I didn't want to take that exit, but now that I did, I have the opportunity to think through what I want now. Can I find a way back onto the freeway? Is that even possible? Whatever that old life was, is that possible for me to get back onto the freeway? If so, what's the best way to go about doing that? Maybe I can't get back on the freeway. This is a tough pill to swallow, but can I learn to accept the new circumstances and get used to driving around the city? Can I even learn to like that? Because if we can accept what is, we're now focusing on what is instead of what isn't. Right now, this is how it is. I can use this information and move forward. I am dealing with this. This is what it's like right now. Because when you're focused on what life used to be like, when you got off that freeway, you're focused on the past. But think about all the things in your control. One very important thing is not in there, and that's your past. Irvin Yalom has a quote where he says, sooner or later, you have to give up hope for a better past. The past can't be changed. The past is outside of your control. Once you've left the freeway, you can't be on the freeway anymore. Not right now. You can maybe figure out how to get back on the freeway, but figuring out what to do going forward is in your control. Now, you might be throwing up your hand saying, Derek, acceptance sounds like I'm going to be a doormat. But let's take a look at the things that acceptance requires and the things that it doesn't. So you don't have to like something. I don't have to like spilling milk to accept that this milk has spilled. I don't have to like that I left the freeway. But once it's happened, my liking or disliking it doesn't change the fact. It also doesn't mean I can't do anything about it. Once I've spilled the milk, I don't just sit there and wallow in, well, I guess there's spilled milk. No, I go clean it up. Once I've left the freeway, I figure out, how do I get back on? Do I want to get back on? Can I get back on the freeway? How can I learn to live in the city? How can I learn these new circumstances? Because if we are attached to some aspect of our past, it can feel like an anchor. It can keep us from our future. It kind of feels like this big, heavy, tough, strong rubber band anchoring us back, keeping us from enjoying the rest of our short lives. What subconscious anchors do you have? What subconscious anchors are you holding on to? And what would it feel like to let that go? You get one life. Live intentionally.